Hey guys, how's it going? Bringing you today a video that I hope will be helpful for you on the Streamlight Sidewinder Compact II. I actually had this issued to me, believe it or not. I'm in an Army unit, and I had my supply order a whole ton of these. They're actually Class 2 expendable, so if you're in the Army, you know what that means. And you can actually have your supply order it for you and everyone in your unit. I just noticed that, we're doing PMCS, specifically in my unit, PMCS regularly and before the sun comes up for our gunnery certifications, for example. And it's definitely helpful to have a light that you can mount to either your ACH or on a headband, which, by the way, this also includes a headband in the package, or at least this NSN does. It's super helpful to have that instead of trying to fiddle around with, soldiers being soldiers with their iPhones or something like that, or other headlamps. It's super helpful to have a light that's already mounted to your helmet. You don't have to worry about it. So if you need the NSN for this, just let me know and I'll try and look it up for you. But it comes with the light, the helmet mount, and then the headband setup. So pretty much what I struggled with this, because the instructions are terrible, I had a hard time mounting it to my actual helmet. So I'll go ahead and show you real quick. So this is a quick detach mount that goes on your helmet. And I'll show you one removed looks like this. And pretty much what the instructions don't tell you is here, let me zoom in here, is it'll come with two of these little mount things. And they don't tell you that in order to mount it, you need to take off this little plastic wafer that's stuck on the tooth of it. So you'll take some pliers, rip that off, and then you'll be able to mount it to your helmet. So how you do that is, I'll use this gray one for example. So if you're mounting it to an ACH, which is Army, you'll use the black one that it comes pre-installed in. But I think this gray one is used for like Marine Corps or something. I think they have the ECH. Anyway, you'll want to remove this little black plastic wafer, and then you'll hook it around the edge of your helmet or whatever you're mounting it to. I think you can mount it up here too, probably. But for my example, I put it right on the little ear cup ledge thing. So you'll put that on there, and then you'll unscrew these screws. Well, first you'll have to unscrew these screws, take the black mount off, and then once you get it positioned, you'll just screw those two little Phillips head screws back in, and then bam, you're working. So you'll have your Sidewinder mount on your helmet, your quick detach. And what it is on the light itself, it has almost like a key mod system. So you'll just match up the big hole with the big hole on the helmet mount. And this little clover pattern thing, it's actually spring loaded with these little dimples in it, or like cutaways. And then there's a metal dimple on the flashlight. So you'll line up the big hole and you'll press in to compress the spring, slide down, and then it'll be mounted on the flashlight, and then it'll click as it goes between the different little cutouts on the helmet quick detach mount. So you can set it and then forget it. Something that might be a problem long term is as it clicks between these different settings, it might wear a groove in them, and then it might not be as positive when you're rotating it around. I can see that happening, but who knows. Either way, I heard a lot better things about this light rather than the other one you can order through supply, which is the Surefire one. This one has a lot more modes, and I've heard it's actually brighter. So I'll go through the settings of this light real quick for you. If I can take it off. Oh, and before that, I'll go over the other mounting option, which is the headband. Super easy. So it has this clip right here. And this clip can be used to mount it to anything you want. You can put it through your molly or something. But for the headband, you'll take and put it through this little hole, slide it in. Once it's through, it does move a little bit. Sorry about that. It does move a little bit left or right, but really it's not gonna come out unless you tug really hard. And then if you want it to come out, you'll just press down on the little clip, and then you can pull it out. But really this is designed, or more intended to be used on a helmet, so it's pretty secure attachment method on there. So besides that, you got different light settings. So you have the white light, you have the red light, you have the IR, which I haven't been able to test out because I haven't been able to use it with night vision yet. And then you got your blue light. So on your white light, you have this button right here that manipulates the different modes. So whatever is facing forward towards the emitter, or the way the light emits from, is what you'll be using. So right now it's a W for white. So you got that on. And then as you rotate this dial, let me make sure this is in focus for you. So now it's on red, so it's shooting the red light out right there. And then you got IR, and then you have your blue light. So how you adjust the different power settings, I heard some people complain, they're like, oh, this light isn't that powerful. Well, it's because you didn't freaking read the instructions and you don't know how to access the power settings. So no matter what, whenever you first turn it on, it's gonna be on the lowest setting on whatever mode. And then to access the higher modes, you just hold down the button and it'll cycle up to the brightest setting, which right there for the white light is the brightest setting. It has those 4 settings for the every single light mode, so even the small little LEDs up here will get brighter as you cycle through the different power settings. So additionally, you have a mode to strobe, so you'll double click that and then it will strobe on the highest brightness setting for whichever device or whichever light function you use, I guess, for lack of a better word. Something that I didn't think about until I already had it was this might be a useful mode if you want to have like an IR strobe on your helmet. This kind of might be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So you'll just set it to IR, hit the strobe, and then you can have people identify you if you're on the range or something and you want to be identified by other people with night vision. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The last thing that I think I'll go over, and I'll also try and roll in some footage when it gets dark of the white light LED emitter. Something that did surprise me with the light on this is it actually has a very condensed beam pattern. So it has a lot of throw, surprisingly. It has spill, but the spill is not very bright at all. But the one hot spot in the center is very bright and it's very throwy. So that kind of threw me off from what I expected, but it's also very cool. That it actually has some good throw and, you know, still usable spill for that. The last thing I'll go over is the battery, which it takes one CR123 battery. By the way, if I expected anything on this light to break, it's pretty solid all around, but the battery cap thing that holds the battery cap to the battery, it just seems like it's too brittle and might like break in the future. But anyway, it holds one CR123 battery, but it has the option to use a AA. So when you put it in there, it doesn't look like it's gonna fit at first, but the cap is actually recessed, so you can squish it down on there. And then you can use the AA battery. So it's not gonna last as long because it just doesn't have as much, you know, juice as a CR123. It also doesn't have as great output. I think the low mode is the same, but you'll notice that there is only one brighter step, and that's the maximum for it. So you only have the low, and then I think it's equivalent to the CR123 battery medium, and that's the only 2 modes you're gonna get for this light. So 1, 2, and no matter how long I hold it down, it's not going to get brighter than that. And that's going to be the same for all of the different light settings. So you have the low, and then you have the 1 step higher. But it is cool to know that if you get in a pinch, AA batteries are definitely way more common than CR123. You can always use these too. Anyway, I hope that this video has been helpful to anyone who has this light or is looking into getting this light. Yeah, just let me know if you have any questions.